Hello, it's me, Kyron. If you are a new viewer, welcome to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I know I've been gone for a minute, but I'll update you a bit later on what I've been up to the last couple of months and why I've been gone at the end of the video. But for now, I want to talk about this video's topic, the Disney movie Encanto, which I hope you've seen. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you watch it and then come back and watch this video, or you could watch this video if it doesn't really matter to you. Just watch this video for sure. That's the first thing. First things first, watch this video. But I want to talk about Encanto. So what is Encanto? I am not gonna try to reinvent the wheel. I am not gonna try to give you a summary that I can't give, so I'm just gonna use the IMDb one. A Colombian teenage girl has to face the frustration of being the only member of her family without magical powers. So I really enjoyed this movie, and of course, I would look up video essays and see what people had to say about it. But one of the things that I think is maybe a gap that I had noticed was what stood out to me. And maybe this is because of my own experiences and therefore what I brought to my viewing of the film. And what stood out to me was the idea of being a gifted person, and especially being a gifted child. I know this is not a brand new thing. We've seen things about gifted children before, prodigies, like child geniuses. But I was looking at a more relatable, realistic type of giftedness that may exist around us, and that especially surrounds children. And I wanted to talk about that. So this kind of thing is very much on brand for me because I love comic books, I love the X-Men, I love anything with magic in it. I'm currently rewatching Charmed as we speak. I'm just about to start season 6. I love anything with magic in it. And this seemed like an interesting concept to me, so I actually watched it. And one of my favorite songs from the movie is What Else Can I Do? And it's sung by Mirabel's eldest sister, Isabella. I don't know what about this particular song really stood out to me so much, but there were certain lines in it that spoke to me, and it got me thinking about this week's topic. So first of all, what is a gifted child? We know that gifted children exist, but what actually is a gifted child? So I was able to find a definition that I think really summarizes everything that I want to talk about today. The Davidson Institute says, gifted children come from all different racial and ethnic backgrounds, as well as economic status. While no two gifted children are the same, many share common gifted characteristics and traits, such as advanced thinking and comprehension above their age peers, emotional intensity at a young age, heightened sense of self-awareness, highly developed curiosity, excellent memory. So, in childhood, the Madrigal family, the Madrigal children, are given a gift. Every single member is given a special ability that is almost unique to them. Nobody else in their family has that ability. So, well, everybody except for Mirabel, unfortunately. So they are gifted children who grow up to continue being gifted adults. Again, except for Mirabel. Sorry. Part 1. I make perfect practice poses. So much hides behind my smile. So gifted kids are not a new concept, even though I don't think we see that many gifted children in media. I remember from my childhood a couple examples that stand out to me. There was Matilda, who was so brilliant that she basically gave herself telekinesis. There was the show Smart Guy, it was a sitcom, and it was about an elementary school-aged boy who was really intelligent for his age, and he was in high school with his older siblings because he was so intellectually gifted. I could think of more modern examples. For example, The Queen's Gambit, that was about a chess prodigy. While I was in no way, shape, or form the most brilliant student at my school, throughout the 7 years I was in secondary school, which would have been from the ages of 11 to about 18, there really was not a year that I did not win an academic award. I always won something, and typically I won in what we called English and English literature. Those were two very separate subjects. So English language was more like the practical aspects of English, like letter writing, reading comprehension, summary writing, skimming, scanning, like being able to ascertain like meaning from text, like that aspect of things I tended to do really well at. And then English literature was more like literary analysis, analysis of poetry, prose, um, that type of thing, that aspect, that more analytical aspect of things. And I excelled at both. So I often won those awards. And there were students at my school who were absolutely like much more gifted than me. Like they could do any class and they were at the top of their classes like all the time. I was not at the top of all of my classes, but when it came to English language and English lit, I used to beat those students, like the students who were typically the best students in the year group. They could not get those awards. I used to keep those awards on lock for 7 years. Like the Madrigals in Encanto, I was therefore like validated quite a lot for being able to win awards and be good at these subjects. And the thing is, I really didn't have to work very hard. I was just like naturally gifted at these things. Like it just came to me. I was just able to do the work. And I had like the memory. I even remember my one of my teachers coming down to the end of my secondary school career. Often he would ask me to remember details from the books that we were reading or the poems or whatever, because I was really good at remembering specific chapters, specific quotations. Like I was really good at that naturally, and I was just really good at analysis. I was graded at a higher level than some of my classmates because I was exceptional when it came to literary analysis and the language arts in general. So I related to the Madrigals having their one gift that they're really good at, that is exceptional and that is unique to them and that would be of great use to their village. Part 2. You just seem like your life's been a dream since the moment you open your eyes. So I had a cousin that I was really, really close to when I was growing up. I used to see him every weekend. And I remember the way my academic success would often be weaponized against him. Like, when we would get report cards at the end of the school term, I remember my aunt would say, well, Karen is doing really well at school, or Karen is receiving an award. And it being used and weaponized against him, much like Mirabelle didn't have any special powers. Her inability to do anything that her grandmother considered to be useful was weaponized against her. And the thing is, I actually thought that my cousin had a great talent for art. He was actually like really good at drawing. He was really, really talented. And he was not given the support that he deserved in order to pursue what he was actually good at. So my intellectual talent that came naturally to me, that I really didn't have to work very hard for, was given more value than what he had. And I get why maybe he did not get the support, because I'm from a really small country, and the reality is that if you want to do anything artistic, especially if you want to be an artist in the mid 2000s, I imagine that your career prospects would have been quite limited in a country like mine. So even if my aunt did really try to encourage him, it's possible that maybe he would not have been able to find success. And my academic success was something that was maybe a bit more like realistic, and that you could find more practical use for it. Of course, there's some truth to that, because I was able to become an English teacher and now I live in Japan. But at least he had something. He had that one thing that he was really good at. And I wish that that was nurtured, as opposed to my academic success or talent being used to make him feel like what he was good at was not so valuable. So the reality is that for some people, they never find the thing that they're really good at. And that makes me sad, because I was able to get that validation as a child, as an adolescent. I was able to get that validation that I was at least good at these things and I was rewarded for it publicly. But if you never found that like thing that you were so good at, that you were better than a lot of people at, like you never find that, I could imagine seeing other people have it could be quite frustrating. But I do think that we all have things that we're innately good at. It's just that we haven't found it, or if we have found it, maybe it's not given as much value as other things. Part 3. What could I do if I knew it just didn't need to be perfect? It just needed to be. Now, the thing about growing up as a somewhat gifted child is that you do grow up to be an overachieving adult because you're used to being praised and rewarded for things that come naturally to you, that things that maybe are a bit easier for you than it is for other people. So you do kind of have like a somewhat inflated ego, but it's not that it's unwarranted because you do have a talent, you do have something that other people don't have. So it's not that it's unwarranted, but because of that like constant need for validation, you do become the type of person who oftentimes becomes an overachieving adult. And because you're an overachieving adult, when things don't necessarily go the way you want them to, it's really hard to accept. I found this really great quote online that I think really encapsulates the idea of what some people call gifted kid syndrome. The term gifted kid syndrome is essentially this. It is every child who was raised with constant praise and higher achieving than others when they were young. It is every child who grew up, found themselves amongst other high achieving students, and failed to adapt. It is the idea that you have never had to work for anything in the past, so at last, when you need to, you don't know how, but you can't get rid of the overwhelming pressure to be exceptional. Now, I kind of had a little bit of this when I was at university. So I told you before that when I was 11, all the way up to when I was about 18, I did receive academic praise and awards all the time. And actually, when I went to university, in my first year or so, I think maybe my first year or my second year, I happened to win the British High Commission Award for Shakespeare from the university. Now, this had come as a complete surprise to me. I was not expecting this because you're at university and there are like so many more students than your secondary school. Like, these are some of the best students at their schools, so we're all at these schools now. And I did not expect to win. I remember when my friend said, "Oh my God, you know, like you're up on the board at the university in our faculty. Congratulations!" And I was like, "Congratulations for what?" And they said, "Well, you won an award." And I was like, "What? I won an award? I just was not expecting it." So that was a really validating, exciting experience. But my university career was not the easiest. There were some challenges because I chose a major that I didn't really have much experience with. I had some experience with some of it, and there was a lot that I didn't have. As I've said in previous videos, I did a double major in linguistics, English literature, and a minor in education. So the English lit part was just more of an advancement of the things that I was already good at in secondary school. So winning the Shakespeare Award kind of went hand in hand with that experience when I was growing up. The linguistics aspect of things, on the other hand, I had no idea what to expect from it because it's not something that you are prepared for when you're in secondary school. Like, there's nothing quite like linguistics when you're in secondary school. So it took me a while to wrap my head around linguistics. And ultimately, I remember in my first year at university as well, I failed a linguistics course and I was absolutely devastated. I could not handle it. I remember calling my mom in full-blown panic mode. Now, it wasn't that I hadn't ever not done exceptionally well in things before, because, child, the way math used to have a chokehold on me when I was in school, I just could not wrap my mind around math when I was in secondary school or even in primary school, if I'm being honest. I just was not good at math, and for my entire academic career up until like I finished school, I needed a tutor for math. And I also wasn't very good at music. Something about those, like, I don't know, I just could not read it. And the recorder, it was a wrap for me. I just could not play the recorder. I don't know if your country had like a musical instrument that everybody would learn to play. In my country, it was the recorder, and I just could not do it. I could not blow. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. But failing at failing in university, it felt like the ultimate insult. It felt like the hardest thing that I had ever been through. It felt like the end of my world, because this wasn't just like a class that didn't really matter. This was my degree. This was like important, and I just couldn't believe that I had failed it. It was really, really stressful and shocking, and my mom had to calm me down. She was like, listen, Karen, these things happen. You'll just have to do the course over. It is what it is. But for me, it was so hard. It really was so hard for me to accept. Conclusions. What can you do when you know who you want to be isn't perfect, but I'll still be okay? Just because you fail something doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that maybe this thing isn't exactly the thing that you're great at, or you may have to make a little more of an effort to do well. And ultimately, that's what I had to do. I had to make a bit more of an effort as it related to linguistics, which was somewhat new for me, but I had to do it in order to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve at university. And that was a good lesson. And my world did not implode just because I didn't succeed in this thing, just because I wasn't perfect at linguistics. It's okay to not be perfect at things. You don't owe the world perfection all the time. Sometimes it's just a matter of being kinder to yourself and, saying, well, you fall down and you could get up again. As cliched as it sounds, I know that it's difficult when you are like an exceptional student, or when you have built up a narrative that you're a great student and this is how you define yourself, or like this is the thing that you're good at, and if things don't work out, like you feel like you fail, but it's just gonna pass. You just find another path to success and you'll be able to figure it out eventually. Like, your life doesn't come to an end just because things didn't work out exactly the way you wanted them to. Thank you so much for making it till the end of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below telling me what you thought about Encanto, and telling me if maybe you relate to what I was talking about being a gifted kid, or a kinda gifted kid, and how it made you feel. And now I'm just gonna like talk about me and stuff that's been going on the last couple months. I know it has taken me forever to upload new content. It's not because I have not had ideas. It's just that due to stuff that was happening at the company that I currently work for, I was compelled to find a new job. And the reality is, like, looking for a new job is kind of like its own job, and it literally doesn't pay until you get one. So, the last couple of months I've been so busy with job hunting, doing interviews, and sending out applications and emails, on top of like the regular stuff of like cleaning your apartment, doing yoga, trying to cook, seeing friends, trying to rest. Like, my creative energy just was not there the last couple months because my mind was so divided. It wasn't that I didn't have topics that I wanted to talk about. There were so many things I wanted to talk about, but the time it would take to film something and edit it and all, I just didn't have the creative energy. And like, I know some content creators are a little different in that they could like just create content because this is what they do. Like, but I'm a person who needs a little bit of motivation as it relates to anything creative. Like, I actually need to have a reason. I need to be in the right frame of mind to create content, and I just wasn't in that frame of mind the last couple months. But my promise to myself, my promise to the 5 of you who watch my YouTube videos, is that I'm gonna try to upload 2 videos every month. So I saw another YouTuber who had like a really good concept for what they were gonna do next, which is kind of like they were gonna do one video that was just for them and one video that was algorithmic. And I'm feeling like maybe I'm gonna try to do the same thing. Like, I have a list of topics that I wanna make, and some of those videos I know are not necessarily gonna like hit the algorithm very well. Because I think my most viewed video is still my first video, and it doesn't have that many views. Like, no shade to myself, but um, I mean, it's not shade if it's true. So I'm thinking that I want to try to produce a lot of different things in the next couple of months. I want to try to make content that hopefully will appeal to a larger cross section of people, and cross my fingers, grow my channel a bit more, like hit 100 subscribers, hit 200 subscribers, I don't know. But right now I'm like hovering just under 100 subscribers, and I just want to get over 100 subscribers. So yeah, I want to try to find that balance of things that I'm really passionate about and things that interest me and things that might be good for building a following. So it's finding that balance. I think that that's key at this point. So we'll see how that goes. 2 videos a month, I think it's quite reasonable. But I mean, girl, we'll see. I don't get paid for this. This is just for fun. This is a hobby for now. So, like, I cannot make any promises. I have a life to live. I have things to do, girl. So, if I'm able to do it, I will. I'll try to carve out more time. I'll try to manage my time a bit better so that I would be able to do that and give you guys what you deserve and give myself what I deserve, because I enjoy doing YouTube. I really do. So I am gonna try to do that. Thank you so much for watching. Love you more.